Hi, and welcome to another video by Jim the Car Guy. Today we have a fairly simple job. We have a 2006 Acura TL with a 3.2 liter engine. We're just going to be changing the drive belt. It's a little bit tight. You can't see down to the belt, but if you remove a couple of the plastic covers, you should be able to gain access to it pretty easily. So let me bring you up there. I'm going to show you what we're going to do, and then we're going to go ahead and get this job done. So come on, let's take a walk up there and see. Okay, first thing you're going to notice is that down here is where your fan belt is. You know it's a little bit tight. But this cover right here has to come off to gain access to the belts. So what you do is you just grab the cover, you just pull it up, and it pops right off. These little pins right here hold it in place, and this locks in on the side over here. So we're just going to take this and move this off to the side for now. The fan belt or drive belt is going to be very simple to remove. This piece right here, let's bring you in there. I'll see if you can see a little bit better what I'm doing here. This actually, let's see if this will work better. Okay, this is actually your drive belt tensioner right here. It looks like it's a 14 or a 15 millimeter. So what we're going to do is we're going to take that tensioner, we're going to pull it in this direction to release the tension on the belt, and we're going to remove the belt from the car. So, all right, let me get set up, and we'll come right back. Okay, this is an example of what kind of tools you're going to need to put this back on. You're going to need something long, thin like this, like a screwdriver or something, to push the belt back on down the bottom in case you can't get your hand in there. You're going to need a ratchet with a 14 millimeter socket, or a wrench, 14 millimeter, whichever works for you. So what we're going to do now is we're going to make sure that we have a schematic of how the belt is actually put back on. If you don't have this schematic, you can just draw it out with a pen any way that you can, take a picture of it, whatever. But that's pretty much it. This is the tensioner right here. What we're going to do is we're going to put a wrench on that tensioner right there, and we're going to pry it up, and we're going to take that belt off the top. So, all right, let's continue with that now. Now you can, like I said, you can go with a ratchet, or you can go with a wrench, whichever works for you. I'm going to try it with a ratchet just because there's a little bit more leverage. Now, just in case you wanted to have a little more room to work, you can remove this power steering reservoir here. It just pulls up like this and out of the way. It gives you a little more room to work, so you can just put it out of the way just like that. All right, so now we're going to pry the tensioner down, and then we're going to take the belt off. You want to take it off the easiest place to put it on, or whichever is easier for you to take it off. In this case, I'm going to take it off the alternator, and then we'll release the tensioner, take our tool out of the way, and then we can take the fan belt, or I should say drive belt, and take the drive belt off. Just like that. And now we'll grab our new drive belt, we'll measure it up, and then we'll put it right back on. Okay, welcome back. All right. Now, before you put your new drive belt, I don't know why I keep calling it a fan belt, but I do. Always make sure you match it up to make sure that the belt is the correct length, because I've had it happen frequently, and you'll even see on one of my other videos, it does create a problem sometimes when the parts store sends you the wrong belt. All right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to put the belt back in place where it belongs. We're going to start on the furthest point down. We're going to start right on this lower point right over here. We're going to put the belt on here. We're going to put everything back in the way it was, except for that alternator right there. That's going to be the last piece that we put on. So, all right, let's get started. Now remember what I told you about that wrench or the screwdriver? You can get down here with a screwdriver and you could push the belt as needed to its location. We're not going to do that now, but you could if you had to. Okay, I just want to point this out to you. Before you go and put your new drive belt back on, this vehicle just had a very dry belt. It was actually cracking, so there was no issues with it. But just make sure you rotate your pulleys just to make sure that there's no noise coming from the pulleys. Nice and quiet, see? Okay, all right, let's grab the new belt and we'll put it back on. All right, so first thing we're going to do is we're going to put that belt on the lower pulley. And then we get everything in where it belongs. I know it's a little difficult to see here, but the piece that I'm putting on last is going to be right there. So we're going to put our ratchet on it. I'm going to bring you in there. I'll show you what I did. Actually, I'm going to show you a problem already so you know what to look for when it happens to you. Okay, you see the belt. Let's get a light down here so you can see. You see down on this part right over here, I slid the belt on, but you have to always make sure that the belt is in its proper location. You can see right down on the bottom, right down here, you see how that belt is not on all the way? See how it sticks off the pulley a little bit? So what you're going to do is you're going to come in here and you're going to pry on this again, and with your hand you're going to push that in place. So that's what I'm going to do. So, all right, let me get in there. Okay. So you just put your ratchet back on here, you pry on it very little, and you push your belt in place. Let's take a look. Okay, I'll show you what I'm doing. Okay. Okay, you see how your belt is on this groove here? It's on correctly here. It's also on correctly. It's over the top of the tensioner here and the idler pulley there. And now you can see that drive belt is on that pulley correctly. That's the actually AC. And you can see the lower crankshaft, which is right here. And you can see that that is on the lower crankshaft pulley just the way it's supposed to be also. See? That's it. We're all set. All right, next thing we're going to do is we're going to take all of our tools out of here, and then we're going to start this up. Okay. Now, before we put this cover back on, we're just going to start it for a moment to make sure everything looks good. Okay, so now you're not going to put your fingers near it because it's running, but you want to make sure that belt is on there all the way it's supposed to be. It's right here. You see the belt is on there and down here. And the alternator, everything looks good. So let me just shut this off now. Okay, that's it, you're all set. All right, now before you put that cover back on, which I'm going to put back on right now, you want to just make sure you look on all of these pulleys here to make sure everything is in exactly as it belongs. The problem is that if you have it hanging off just one little spline, it's going to run fine, but you're actually going to shred that new belt. So make sure you put it on correctly, and there's not a problem. All right, next thing we're going to do is we're just going to put this cover back on, and we're going to line up these two little pins right here, push them in place, and this job is out the door. So that's it, we're all set. All right, any questions or comments? You want to talk to me about anything? Send me an email. I'll be more than happy to talk to anybody about anything. As always, thanks for watching. See you on the next one.